back. But what else can I say about my next guests tonight except that they're both legends. I'm delighted they've agreed to share a couch and some stories with us for our last show. Let's hope I managed to get one word in edgeways. Please give your warmest welcome to Jimmy Magee and Mícheál Muircheartaigh.
So we link each other in.
Hello, Jimmy. How are you? Very nice to see you. Thank you very much. Yeah, we were saying in the office today, sure, I said, what I'll ask them, I said, Miriam, just sit there, they'll talk for the 15 minutes.
May I say something at the very beginning?
I told you, yes.
I think we're a little bit too near each other.
This is a pressure, because we've had a male model nude.
That is true.
And well-clad roses of Tralee. And Mícheál and myself have decided to average out the average age. Bring it down a notch or two.
Bring it down for a few months.
Speak for yourself now.
And we were establishing links between the roses and football in hurling.
Tell me about that.
Now, Lucinda,
Yeah.
she was Rose 1998.
God.
Galway Rose. Galway won the All-Ireland. But I have a little story about her grandmother.
Okay.
Now, her grandmother, the 2004 All-Ireland, Kerry and Mayo. She lived in Mayo, but she was born in Kerry. And she did link with both sides. Now, this would be Lucinda's grandmother. And on the Friday before the All-Ireland, I rang her up, wondering, was she coming? She was 92 years of age at this stage. No answer, Jimmy, all day to the phone. She was living on her own in Ballycroy. 9:30 at night, the phone was answered. I said, where were you all day? Getting my hair done for the All-Ireland. And then I spoke to her for a good while and I said, sure, I might see you on Sunday. And the All-Ireland was over about 45 minutes. I was writing a report upstairs. Who did I see about 20 yards in the field but Mrs. O'Sullivan, and looking around. So I went down straight away and she said, didn't you say you might see me? And then the strange thing is, and Jimmy would know now, I'd bet he'd know, she pulled a cap out of her pocket, green and gold. And she said, 100 years ago, my father played here in the All-Ireland final. His name was Myers.
Jack Myers.
Jack Myers. And he
Billy Myers, who played in the 30s and into the 40s.
Was her brother.
This is like the old Dermot Morgan Scrap Saturday.
And here she was with a cap that linked 100 years.
Wow.
And before she left, the Kerry captain came out, the Kerry manager Jack O'Connor, Seamus Moynihan, and Johnny Cullity, and they brought out the Sam Maguire and got a picture taken with the cap that was 100 years old.
What's that?
So when we were size 8.
Because you're meant to be the memory man, they're saying to me today, like, you memorise everything.
No.
Oh, but why you call the memory man?
I don't know.
No, it's in the memory. Like Jack Myers, I could mention, you'd know who was somebody else that was on that Kerry
Yes,
team.
I would know a whole lot of things about sport and geography and travel and things in which I'm interested in.
And connections.
And connections and bits of things. Like, you know, O'Callaghan, for instance. There was a Doc O'Callaghan played full-back for Roscommon, 1943-44.
No,
there was no Callaghan play for Meath. But then, again, you could go on and on. But it's the Department of Useless Information, and I'm full of it.
Yeah, and so I'm full of it as well. But it's great. Yeah.
But look, you're both kind of legends here. When did you work together? Have you worked together? And when did you first work together?
We work together, right? I do Sunday sport every
Yeah.
Sunday. And Mícheál's at the end of a line somewhere doing a commentary on a match. So really we work together all
And
the
we
time.
might meet for a few months. We met on Saturday in Croke Park.
Yeah, when I was going to school, a little fella going to school, he was already a seasoned adult.
Yeah.
But he did his first commentary, I think I'm right, in saying in 1949, when I was really in short trousers. I genuinely was.
Yeah.
And I went, first of all, on the program called Junior Sports Magazine in 1956. So last year I was 50 years actually talking to myself, because I never know whether there's anybody out there or not. But if you love sport, you will talk to yourself all the time. That's the enjoyment.
All the time. And I could link Miriam with that first broadcast.
Could you? Why?
It was 1949, there was no sign of Miriam or anything like that. I did the broadcast on a Thursday. I think I should be looking at Miriam.
I don't know what's going to come now, go on.
Did the first broadcast Patrick's Day in 1949. The following Saturday, I was a student at the time in St. Patrick's Training College in Drumcondra. Saturday night I went down to the dogs in Shelburne Park and lost everything I had. My brother was living not too far away, and on every Saturday night, his name was Paddy, with your father Jerry and another few, they used to go to a little pub in Ballsbridge. So I said if I drop in there, I'll get a few pounds as it was from the time from the brother and the bus fare home. And I dropped in, and your father Jerry was there, far out, and at some stage he bought a drink for everyone, and he said, we'll toast the man that broadcast in Irish 2 days ago in Croke Park. Wow. That was your father, Miriam, in Ballsbridge in 1949.
Yeah. And that's mind you.
That's really sweet. You'll have me crying now. Yeah. But listen, didn't you two broadcast together hilariously once with only one team playing? What was that famous broadcast?
Dublin.
That was Dublin and Cork.
Yes.
Oh, tell me about
that. And Cork went off at half-time, went for the train.
At full time?
At full time, because there was extra time to be played.
Yeah. And what did you two do?
It ended in a draw.
And it ended in a draw, and off they went, and the referee, it was Mícheál Greenan actually, I think was the referee, came out, threw the ball in, Dublin on their own, came to Barney Rocky, knocked it in the goal.
Yeah. Now, it was a brilliant move, you know.
It was a brilliant move.
No opposition, every pass was dead accurate, the pace was slow.
Not a tackle to be seen.
No.
And he rolled it into the net.
Barney Rock, but the strange thing, Jimmy, that was the last goal he scored in Croke Park.
Was it?
And there was nobody to take the kick out then, so the game was awarded to Dublin.
And in more recent times, he's been on Eurostar.
Of course he has,
with Jack O'Shea and David Beggy. Now, can I tell you one about doing commentaries?
Yeah.
I once did a commentary on a football match, only for a few minutes, mind you, in Brazil. A friend of mine, who was a Brazilian TV commentator for football, was doing a match, and he brought me to the game, and he introduced me on the air, and then he suddenly disappeared. To go to the powder room, I presume. And he left me there, so I continued. I don't know one single word of Portuguese, bar obrigado. And I continued. But because it was television, I was able to name the players. And the thought was running through my head, what will happen if there's a score or a dirty foul? Lo and behold, wasn't there a goal? And I decided there and then, I'll do the South America one. I said, goal! I'll put the station off the air.
But do you ever get jealous of the fact that he's got to World Cups and Olympics? Do you know what I mean? You've gone to quite exotic places, haven't you? And Kelly was your hero, wasn't he?
I've been to exotic places. I've been to Ballyjames-Duff, to Dundalk, and to Killarney, and to Dingle, and Ballyferret, and Croke Park. And I did a broadcast one time on the America's Cup. Now, you'd know what sport the America's Cup.
You know that, yachting, of course.
Yeah.
In fact, if you put your money with my money, maybe we'll get a boat for the next America's Cup.
There was a tour to Australia at the time, the Ireland team going out to play Australian compromise rules. We were in Perth, and the America's Cup was on down at Fremantle Harbour. And Bank of Ireland, who were sponsoring the tour, they hired a boat, and we went out in the boat, and I had my recording equipment with me. And the America's Cup was going on. I knew very little about yachting, but I recorded a commentary on the race, Oscailge, and sent it to Reddy on the Gaeltacht, and it went out in the air. And I knew nothing about yachting, but I knew the boat had crossed the line first. So it's great fun, Mary. Yeah.
Would you met people like Pele, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Was he for you, if you had to say who was the most extraordinary?
It's very difficult, and it's silly and foolhardy to try and name one person. But now that you've asked me, beautiful. Not only was a great player, which he was, but he was a lovely man, and I got to meet him a few times, and really genuine man, and that's important. I also met Maradona. Now, I don't collect many autographs. In fact, I don't collect them at all. But I decided I must get Pele, so I had a piece of paper, and he signed it to Jimmy. Pele. And I kept it in my pocket, and even if I had lucky enough to change suits, I kept moving it from one to the other. And in 1990, in Italy, I met Maradona at a press conference and I asked him for his autograph and I produced the same piece of paper and he signed it. So I have Pelé and Maradona on the same piece of paper. And the disappointing thing about it is he never asked me for mine.
Thoughtless of him.
Isn't it?
But like, we do live TV, right? All of us do live TV a lot. For you, and you're famous for the things you say, because you talk about people's aunties, uncles, you know, say if your mother's sick, I'm so sorry for you. I mean, have there been any like very embarrassing moments in live TV or difficult moments, or do you always find it easy? Do you ever panic in live TV?
Well, I find it easy to keep talking.
Yeah.
Now, it might make sense.
I haven't noticed that at all. The Olympic Games, as you know, they rehearse the Olympic Games, the opening ceremony, which is a beautiful thing. And it's, you know, it's second by second. I was, as I have been, doing the commentaries on the opening ceremony for many years now, the Olympics. But it was in Moscow in 1980. And then eventually, you know, they free the birds, the doves of peace fly into the air. And do you think I could think of the word that would describe the birds? I just wouldn't get in my head. And after all the rehearsal and everything they did, I said, and there go the pigeons of peace. That was before, that was before, that's when it was the USSR. I got out though.
And that was the day that Offaly won the Leinster final for the first time ever. But the wonderful thing about the job...
And John O'Leary played in goal for Dublin when they were looking for a goalkeeper. And he was an outfield player and they were looking for a soccer goalkeeper to play in goal.
They had a soccer goalie on the field.
That's right.
Yeah. And John O'Leary was called from nowhere. It was his start. But the wonderful thing about our job, take last Sunday now. I was in Croke Park for the Cork Waterford hurling game. Now, we would have no idea how that game would go. If you like, I had the privilege of being working on what I would call an unscripted drama. Nobody knew what would happen. Nobody could tell me beforehand. You just sit and watch and observe and wonder at the fantastic things we saw. And you were there on Saturday.
Isn't that amazing to listen to you both, though, because I was just coming to the end. Like, you both still have that wonderment, as though it's as exciting as it was.
Miriam, that's what it's about.
Yeah,
Once upon a time, the New York Times said that sport was on the frivolous periphery of real news, that nobody cared. It was the toy department, but it's very important. And it's a lovely thing. And there's a word in the dictionary called retirement. People who retire are people who are either sick or fed up with life.
So you two are never going to retire?
I can speak for myself. Never. Never.
Very briefly, you want to say one thing?
Very briefly.
Yeah.
Just the difference between Cork and Waterford and Sunderland.
Oh, just...
Now, just Waterford came maybe an hour and a half before the game. They watched the other game. During the break, the first game, they went out in the field and Big Dan, the man, was waving to his friends and completely relaxed. Cork arrived maybe 40 minutes before the game, didn't go out in the field, but two different approaches. And I love looking on beforehand and sizing them up and so on. It's terrific, really, and everybody should be in Croke Park next week.
Listen, can I yodel?
Would you like to yodel? Go on. That's fantastic. Listen, I said when you were coming on, you are legends, and I'm sure I speak for everybody in the country when I say I hope neither of you ever retire. Thank you both very much for coming in tonight. For Miriam. Stay there. To all our guests tonight, and indeed for the entire season, and thanks in particular to you at home for being with us in such large numbers along the way.